All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you, just like me. All right, so a good friend of the channel, John M., went to go see the stadium tour, and holy crap, Batman, his review kind of matches up with what people have been talking about this entire summer. Again, the rock media can't spend enough time on Motley Crue, especially Tommy Lee, who is now urging men to display their junk, right? Because he was telling women that, they needed to, let their top parts be seen by the world. I'm trying to be a little bit family friendly here, but it's, we're talking about Tommy Lee. But now, Tommy Lee trying to be an equal opportunity offender, and, with certain people protesting the idea that Tommy's photo, I guess, is still on Twitter and it's off of Facebook. I mean, you gotta love these social media companies, right? They ban speech all over the place. So you can't say this, you can't talk about this topic. If you say the wrong thing, if you don't agree with the World Health Organization, we are going to ban you, warn you, tell you that your speech is no longer welcome here. But Tommy Lee's junk, right? Which we all know the deal with Tommy Lee, right? We've known about this for a number of years. In fact, there are people who are commenting on, the proportions of said junk and talking about how, it's impossible and this and that. And it's like, just stop it. But this is how you feed the beast. And apparently, according to my buddy John, who went to see the stadium tour down in Texas, he says the whole thing, at least when you get to Motley Crue, is a disaster. He said the only tune that he really got into was Home Sweet Home, right? Home Sweet Home, the tune that Vince Neil performed for the Grand Ole Opry, because that has what to do with the Grand Ole Opry? Here are some of the details here. I'll do the Cliff Notes version. So this was a show in Arlington, Texas, happened a few days ago. The tour is an excellent rock concert, but bad to offensive entertainment. First, the good parts. Joan Jett was good. 45-minute set of her best stuff, which is mostly cover songs. That's true. Joan Jett is a cover song artist. She wasn't really a great songwriter, just being honest. She sounds and looks great and can still deliver the goods. Poison came on at 6 o'clock, played for an hour. Bret Michaels is one of the better front men in the business. CC DeVille is a flashy guitarist, if not a little derivative with his top hat of being Slash, his fretboard finger tapping like Edward Van Halen, and his flying V guitar like Paul Stanley. He says, I was annoyed they did not play Something to Believe In, which is kind of annoying because that's such a good song. But otherwise, I enjoyed their performance quite a bit. Def Leppard closed the night with a 90-minute set, and they were fantastic. Of course they were. Joe Elliott appears to have lost weight and bleached his hair since I saw him perform in 2018. Either it's bleach or his hair just went white. The rest of the band is still performing at a very high level. They can truly recreate the sound of the records in a live setting as well as any band out there, including the Eagles. They played a few songs from their new album along with a lot of their hits. They played a few acoustic numbers, which were also great. Now for the bad. Motley Crue played a 90-minute set. So you had to endure 90 minutes of Motley Crue starting at 7:30. Musically, the only song I enjoyed was Home Sweet Home. The rest of their set was barely listenable, with Vince Neil's bad vocals and the excessive volume. Now, this has also been a complaint as part of other reviews, that the mix, the overall mix, the bass and drums, everything seems distorted. Are they doing it on purpose to kind of muddle it up a bit so when Vince sings, it just sounds like it's generically bad, like everything is bad. So the drums and the bass, the rhythm section, everything is off, and then Vince is not singing well. So people don't focus on Vince. They just go, oh, it's the sound. I don't know. I guess if you're kind of mailing it in and you've got to get through this, you got 90 minutes worth of material to do. I guess you do whatever you want to do. That's, I guess, what the moral of the story is here. But the show also had aspects of it that were offensive. The backup singers, dancers, called the Nasty Habits, looked and behaved like strip club dancers. Well, of course they did. Tommy Lee actually asked the men in the audience to expose their junk for him, which I believe is considered indecent exposure in Texas. Tommy bragged about being on a multi-day bender when he took naked pictures of himself and posted them on social media. Tommy appears to be a morally depraved human being. That's from, look, folks, here's the deal, right? Here, a couple of things at work here. The rock media, they're not going to talk this way. Some of us have grown up a little bit, right? We've gotten older. We've become geezers. We're yelling at kids that are on the front lawn. Hey, you, get off my lawn. Sorry if that blew out your speakers, right? But that's what we do. And, we're driving SUVs. We're going to, Whole Foods, whatever it is that we do, right? And, going to the Motley Crue concert, I'm sorry, it's not 1988 anymore. As much as I reminisce about the 80s, right? There are some things that you kind of go back and you think about and you go, yeah, treating women like objects might not be the greatest thing in the world to do. And I'm not one of these Me Too guys where everybody is accused, and if they're accused, then they're guilty. That's not the point here. The point is that I think at this stage, especially after all those experiences that people had, that you might want to appeal to your better angel, your better self, rather than continuing down the road to debauchery. But this is the problem with the rock media. They never look at something that happened and go, maybe it's a bad idea to do this, that, and the other. When the drummer from the Foo Fighters just died, like very quickly, 50 years old, and it was well known that he did a lot of drugs and that this was his thing, right? And I think he had a family and all that, and people go, oh, it's only rock and roll, man, but I like it, right? I like it. Look, rock and roll, ask Ted Nugent, rock and roll does not have to be about debauchery, like constant debauchery, like treating, and I know Ted's into, the hot chicks and all that too. So it's kind of a washout, but at least Ted didn't abuse drugs and wasn't encouraging people. And I'm sure Ted Nugent wouldn't ask guys to show their stuff, show their junk at a concert. And same with the chicks. Now, back in the day, I think the chicks were probably volunteering back in the late 70s. I mean, again, it was a different time and people behaved in a different way. And certain people grew up and other people did not grow up, i.e. Tommy Lee. So in any event, if you're going to the stadium tour to hear music, right, to hear good music, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett. If you're going to see the train wreck, the car accident, the soap opera, this sleazy, crazy onstage antics, which again will take your eyes and maybe even your ears from focusing on the music, which apparently, according to my contact here, who is a very reliable source because he goes to a lot of concerts, right? To take your focus off of that bad music, the mix, the vocals, that's what it's there for. Because look, I get it, Motley Crue, this is their image, but very few commentators today are going to say, yes, I'm so glad they brought in the pole dancers. I'm so glad Tommy Lee is just encouraging people to show their stuff at the concert so people can, and then they will put the camera on these people and put it up on the big screen. So if a guy was showing off their stuff, there's a good chance it got on the big screen, right? And here we are. It's 2022, right? I mean, we can't even figure out biologically anymore who we are, what we are, right? We can't figure that out. We can't make a definitive declaration anymore. So this kind of, in a way, goes along with that, although people were mad because Tommy Lee, because he was a man declared, or a boy declared at birth, that he got special treatment. He was allowed to leave his stuff on the internet, and apparently still up on Twitter. I don't go into the Brown River anymore. I got off that platform a while ago, and I got to tell you, it's a great thing. All the artificial intelligence and the bots and the trolls and the haters and people who sit there, keyboard warriors, all day long. How am I going to make this guy miserable? How am I going to do a psyop on him and his family and so forth? That's all that is all day long, and it's spreading. It's in the news media. It's everywhere. So in any event, good review from my buddy John, who's a patron on the channel. Again, shameless plug. If you want to be part of the channel and you want to sign up for Patreon, you can do that for as little as $1 a month. You can give more to the channel if you want to. It's up to you. I try to put out content almost every single day. I know I missed a day a couple weeks ago. Seriously, I missed a day, and people are like, what happened to you? I don't know, spending a little time with the family, just didn't have a lot to talk about today, so I took a day off, But I try to put out content every day. I'm trying to warn people about the stadium tour. I mean, you can go to the stadium tour if you want to, but this is what you're going to get. If you're going to go with, a member of the opposite sex, if that still is a thing, if that still exists, right? It's going to be offensive at some point. Something will offend you, most likely. Now, if you're one of these, whatever, you don't really care types, you can be as live and let live as anybody on planet Earth, but there's still things that are going to make you offended when you go see Motley Crue. First of all, my first problem is they don't sound good. That's my first problem. This band does not sound good, and they're trying to change the subject, right? That's all they're doing here. Change the subject. Tommy Lee, hey, more bathroom photos, Tommy. Hey, we're going to Europe. We're going to take him over there too, This is just, part of what Motley Crue is right now. If they can get through this tour and then just retire, I think that would be a fitting and appropriate ending to the train wreck, which is currently Motley Crue. Back in their heyday, were they a better band? Obviously. Were they one of the best bands in their genre? Yes and no. To some degree, yes, but there were great bands that didn't get the amount of ink and coverage and just overall propaganda that's thrown out there now on a daily basis. They didn't get that for what they did, and it's a lot of bad behavior, which gets the headlines, whether it's car wrecks, whether it's drug overdoses, whether it's, who the person is sleeping with. That seems to be what pushes this into the spotlight all the time, rather than, is the music any good? Is the music something that is really part of your daily life? Maybe Home Sweet Home is on your playlist, right? It's a good song. There are a few really good Motley Crue songs. I'm not going to say they don't have any good songs. It's just that I would put Poison ahead of Motley Crue as far as catalog goes. I would put, obviously, Def Leppard. Like I say, you could replace Motley Crue with a band like Foreigner, right? And class up the place a lot. And even though, you've got, Mick Jones, who's only out there for a little while, still a great catalog. As much as maybe people don't like Kelly Hansen as the front man, he's a singer. He can sing, and he's about the same age, by the way, as Vince Neil. So again, it's genetics. I had Steve Overland on the show, and one of the things he said, look, I'm lucky. I've got good genes. This is still working. You've got to exercise. your vocals like you do, your biceps. And some guys do that, and I'm not sure if Vince Neil was doing that for a while. So, look, some people have said Vince Neil sounds like he's sucking on helium. All right. But that's it. That's all I got. There are people out there who could do the Motley Crue lead vocal thing. There are guys, Jeff Scott Soto, throw him under the bus, right? I'm sure he wouldn't want the gig, but he could do the gig. And there are others out there. John Corabi did it for a while. He's a different kind of singer than Vince Neil, and so is JSS. But both of them could carry that band on their back, and it would be fine. And maybe somewhat more music focused, I think, instead of, the pole dancers. And hey, pole dancers, they belong at the strip club, right? You go in, and maybe you're bringing your kid. You could be bringing your kids to this. People bring their kids to Kiss. They bring it to the World Wrestling Federation, which I think is crazy because the dress code there isn't. It's probably worse in some ways. It's just making good decisions. Bring your kids to this, and if you can't bring your kids to this, then maybe you better think twice about, just going yourself. But I get it. You're an adult. You can do what you want. I'm all for doing what you want. Maybe you leave when Motley Crue hits the stage and you don't miss anything, and your eyes can be safe from seeing the junk of men around you. Like, people want to see that at the concert, Great. Encourage the adults to do that, and the kids are like, hey, I'm going to do it too. And then you got big problems moving forward. First you have to explain it, and then it's just something that they can't unsee. So, yeah, I've gone into psychology and all this stuff, and yeah, I'm not a psychologist. And psychology, by the way, I was told is just it's like a shiny theory, doesn't really exist anymore. This whole mass formation psychosis thing, it's not real, it's fake, and we just made it up. It hasn't been a thing ever. All right, people, I'm done being sarcastic. Go see the stadium tour. Just buy those tickets, push that thing to #1. It's like #4, #5 on Polestar, whatever it's called. Maybe you can get it to #1 before the tour ends, and then we could send these guys off to Europe and Asia, wherever they want to go, and then we don't have to deal with this anymore. But I have a feeling this might return because, hey, it's making a lot of money, which is, I guess, the name of the game for these folks. All right, see you soon.